And make sure you run the project on 4209 only. Okay. On 4200, you won't get the API access. Now, what is that? Project change. So now if you see the API for project change, so this is our API, project change. Now tell me what is the primary key over here? What is primary key over
Project
here?
Project ID.
change ID.
No, project change ID. See, we have one more API for the project.
That is the foreign key now.
Add update client project. So here we have client project ID. So this is primary key over here, means nothing but project ID. Okay. But this is what project change. So project change ID is our primary key. What this API is about, like what are the changes approved by C. Once client is created, we will create the project. After project is created, we will have the meeting. Once meeting is done, whatever we have discussed in the meeting, for that we need to initiate the project change. So that is the API for that. So project change ID is our primary key. So what are the foreign keys over here?
Project ID.
Project ID is foreign key. Again,
Approved by
EMP ID. Okay. So now project ID and approved by EMP ID. These are the two foreign keys. From which API we will get the project details? Get all project. Correct? Get all client project is the API. So if you see over here, we will get the project ID. Where it is? Client project ID. This is nothing but our project ID. Okay. So 4209. Why it is not running? We run a project. Failed to compile. Okay, Bootstrap.
So you need to npm install, I think.
Yeah, I need to do the npm install.
Yeah.
npm I. Because everyone has to do the npm install, okay? Otherwise, you will get this error. Let's run it on one more time. So right now we are saying, yeah.
Can you tell me the step for pushing the code to GitHub?
Repeat once again.
Because I also want to push my code in GitHub, right? So what do we do?
Yeah, okay.
I need the
So
step.
first let me explain this, then I will explain again. Okay. Fine. What is the route? Project -change / this. Okay. So now over here, project ID is our foreign key. Okay. So you already integrated the API?
No, sir, this one is static. I will
Huh?
give static.
Okay. So
Okay.
here we need to show the project, whatever the projects are created, that drop down we need to show. Okay. So whenever we have a foreign key in our object, like over here, we have this project ID. So we need to see from which API we get the project. So that API also we need to integrate on the page load. So here we need to show the project. So first we need to call the API from where we get the project. So this API we need to integrate. Okay. So I will just copy this API. Now we need to do the API integration, right? So for API integration, what is the module? Okay. HTTP client module is already added. Now in my pages folder in project change, in this component we have the drop down, right? This is the drop down. So we need to integrate our API. Format your code, okay, properly. So in constructor, I will first create here only I'm making the API call. Just I wanted to explain the topic, that's why, but you should make the API call into our service. So private HTTP.
Sir, actually, I have write a service call.
Okay, let it be now. Let me explain. Everyone will understand.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll be doing one more API call. Get all projects. Curly bracket, enter. So this dot HTTP dot get API call. This will be our URL. Okay. Now dot subscribe we need to write. Round bracket result : any Okay. Whatever the project's data we will get, that we need to store it. So he has created this static array. Let's remove it. Project list colon any. We are going to get the array of objects. So that's why any of array. Okay. Whatever the data we get, that we will store it over here. So this dot project list is equal to res dot data. Why res dot data? Because if we see the API, in data we get the actual array. Okay. So now this function we need to call on the page load. Means we need to implement our ng on init lifecycle.
On
So
it.
implement on init. And once we implement, we need to create that function also. ng on init. And inside this function, we need to call this. This dot our function. Okay. So now once the page load, this function will trigger. And in this function, we are integrating the API call. Whatever the project data is there, that we will get it over here. Now this, we need to bind it over here on this dropdown. So OPT star ng for let project of our array. And here we need to bind the value. What you will bind it over here? Primary key from this project. So project dot, let's check what data we get. That is client project ID. You will bind it over here value. And while displaying, you need to display the project name. So project dot project name we tend to display. Where is the project name? Project name. This we need to display over here. So let's save, and let's check it. So now let's reload. Why it is saying approved EMP list? Okay. In the HTML we have it. Let's remove this. So one API call we have done, project. Okay. So on the page load, you can see on the page load, we have the API call. How many projects we have got? Around 13. So now if you see the drop down, see what are the projects already are created. Now you might be saying like we have not started the project, but APIs are free. Everyone is using it. So someone might have already created the project. So whatever the project name are there, those are coming. Okay. So our project API binded successfully. Again, we have employee also. So now here we need to like this, we are approving the projects. So this, whatever the project change, let's say need login design change. This was the change discussed in the meeting. So who is going to approve this change from our employee? So we need to show the drop down of employee. Again, from where we will get the employee drop down? Get all employee. So this API we need to integrate. So this is the API. One more function we need to create. Just like get all project, get all employee. Round bracket, curly bracket, this dot HTTP dot get API. Our API call for get employee dot subscribe, round bracket, result, colon any. Okay. Just like we have created one variable to store the project, we need one more variable, employee list, colon any, square bracket is equal to empty. Again, in the page ng on init, we need to call this function also, because once this component is only dedicated for the form. Once our UI load, we need the drop-down data ready. So that's why on the page load, we are calling two API, because in this particular form, we have two foreign key. So that's why we are making two API call. Okay. This dot employee list is equal to res dot data. Fine. Okay. Capital R is there, small r. Now this data, we need to bind it to our employee dropdown over here. So at the top, we have used this ng for. Now here we will use @ for loop. @ for loop we will use, so that we will have the practice of both the old version and the new version also. Okay. You also do the same thing. Sometimes you will use ng for, sometimes we have to use @ for it. Okay. Now here we need to bind value. What we will bind it over here? What we need to bind it over here in the value?
Employee ID.
EMP ID, whatever EMP ID is the property name. Okay. Make sure you copy paste from the here. Don't decide like employee ID will be there. It is EMP ID. And what we need to display it over here? What we will be displaying?
Name, employee name.
So here you can see we have employee code also. So we will display name and code. Or first EMP code we will display. So item.emp code, then space, again we will display the EMP name. So item.emp name we have to display like this. Okay. So see now. Somewhere code wrong is there. Where we are getting this error? HTML line number 43. Where is line number 43? For loop started. This got completed. This also got completed. Why we are getting error? Let's format. It is getting completed also properly. Invalid ICU message missing. Okay. End of character in line number 9. We have this correct only, no? Or and @for doesn't work in older version or what? Let's remove it.
I think it is because of two field names that we are using.
No.
In
think @
the
for loop
employee
doesn't
ID.
work. Let's try it again.
The version, Angular version 16.
This Angular version is 16, I think.
Angular
Is it
version is
compatible?
16? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Why?
There's a-
You have
Sir, we are not
16?
able to see your screen.
Sonu, you created the project.
No, Deepthi has created.
Sir, I have created the project. Like first you told like we'll work with the
older
previous version.
But with 18 also we can create na with older version. Okay, let it be. Doesn't matter because we were going to use the older version. But in 16 we cannot use this @for now. Okay, because 16 for loop we got from Angular 17. That's why it is not working. It's okay. Understood now why we are not able to use @for loop? Because we got for loop from Angular 17. The project is Angular with 16. So that's why we will be able to use that Angular, @for. Okay. So let's go with for loop only. Employee ID, and here we need to display employee code, EMP, dot EMP name. Let's save. Okay. So now you can see we have got 3 employees. So that employees are coming now. Okay. So now wherever you have the foreign key, what you need to do? You need to check from which API you are going to get that data. You need to integrate that API and you will bind it like this. Primary key, you will bind it in the value, and whatever the name you want to display, you will display it over here. It was employee ID, so I have binded employee ID over here. Here it was project ID, so I have binded project ID over here in the value tag. So these are the changes you have to do for the foreign key. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so now I have done the changes. Now I have to push it. So I will explain you by command prompt. So what you need to do, open the new terminal. So if you see over here you can see 2 files have the changes, one HTML and one .ts, right? I have done the changes in 2 files. So I have 2 files which has the changes. So if you check over here, git status, it will showcase like how many files you have changes. See, 2 files where I have the changes. Then we have to stage it. So git add dot stands for all, whatever the files you have that it will stage. Again, if I check git status, now those files will turn green, means file has been staged. See, okay. Then we need to commit. So git commit minus M, double quote, message. So what we did, API integration. Enter. My files have been committed. Now I need to pull. After commit, you need to git pull. Git space
Sir,
pull.
git push, na?
No. Once you do the commit, you have to take the pull.
Git push.
No. Once you do the commit, first you need to get pull. Then you need to push it. Okay. Whenever you do the commit, first you need to take the pull. Someone else might have pushed the code, na? So if you didn't take the pull, na, you won't be able to push it. So first you need to take the pull, then push. So git push. This is the flow you need to follow. I will write it also, then I will share it. First git status. Then git add dot. Then git status again. Just check to green is the files are in green or not. Then git commit minus M in double quote message, whatever the message you want to pass. Then git pull. After commit, you need to do pull. Then git push. These are the things you need to do. And once you push the code, now make a habit like post it into group that I have pushed the changes, do pull. Once you push the code, just drop the message. I pushed changes,
So,
take pull. So everyone will be aware so that they can take the latest code. Okay. Just follow these things to push the code. Fine. Understood, Sonu?
Yes, sir. Now I'm just trying.
But before pushing, make sure your project is properly running. And one more thing, wait.
Yes.
Once you take the pull na, before pushing, check if project is properly running. Then only push. Sometimes might be happening, you have error in code and you are pushing directly with the error. Okay. So before push, just check if the code is proper. Okay. Fine. So I have pushed the code, like how we need to do the API integration. Now, Siddha, you need to remove this code and to put it into the service. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Will you able to do that?
Yeah, will do.
Okay. Fine. So now tomorrow's task, get API integration. Everyone has the table. You need to just do the get API and show the data into the table. Either do the API call service means write the API call function into service, not the component. Okay. And everyone can create their service. In services, everyone can create service for their component. Okay. Then once everyone is done, then we will merge common service into common API call into common service. But for now, for every component, you will be for your page, you will be creating your service. Okay. So that you won't be disturbing another code also. So tomorrow's task, table should have your get API integration, means whatever the API call data is there, that should be visible in your table. Clear? Then after that, we will start with the form. And tomorrow,
sir, the Angular version issue, can you explain that what NVM list and all? I am facing currently issue. So,
to check the in your company's laptop or your personal laptop?
it is my personal only.
Okay. So let me
Also, I'm
complete this.
getting some error.
Share it. Share your screen. Everyone might be facing the issue.
Yeah.
Share the screen. See, now what you do, conflict is there in app component. Okay. So everyone will get the conflict like this. Okay. Now what we need to do, provide me the access. So if let's say I also push some code to the app component and he also has the same code in the same file. So we will get the conflict. Okay. So you just need to go over here and always check like if you have any merge conflict or not. Package log, routing. So here you can see we have conflict. Okay, conflict mean in the same file there are changes. You also done some changes and someone else also done the changes. So you need to check, like, see, this is your change. It's empty only, but this is incoming change, right? So you can accept the incoming change. Accept incoming